Hey, you are now listening or watching the Halos in the Infield podcast, sponsored in part by Noble L Works over on 1621 South Sinclair, where you can get discounts by just mentioning HITI, Halos in the Infield, drink discounts on us, baby. And also by 714 Tickets, 714 Tickets. The price you see is the price you get, and you also get 10% additionally off in the Apply Now code once you order your tickets just by mentioning HITI, Halos in the Infield. Now enjoy the show. Hey, welcome into the party here at Mezzo as we get started here on a Saturday afternoon. A little early as we're going to be doing the watch party live here from the Oakland Coliseum. Oh, no, wait, it's the dump here in Anaheim. We're going to be doing the, honk our honks, right? We're at Angel Stadium just outside 2406 Mezzo's off of East Catella right there. You can come down and get your discount. We're going to be giving away shirts and stuff like that in a little bit. They're almost here. We also have raffle tickets and whatnot. So it should be a fun time, but we're going to talk about, before we get started with anything, is Carlos Estevez. And we're going to get into the pregame show afterwards, but we just wanted to break in and tell you what the Angels did. And first off, I'm Todd Fox, and this is Dominic.
What's up, everybody? How we doing?
I think we're doing good. So right now, let us know how the stream's coming in. Tony C's already given us bad news. So with that being said, Carlos Estevez.
Yep.
He's been very decent for the Angels overall since we got him. I think we can all agree that he didn't get enough opportunities last season. But when he's in there and he's playing every day, he's been pitching really good. And he's really turned things on lately. What is it? 14 consecutive appearances without allowing a run.
Yep.
And, not blowing a save or nothing like that. So he's been super solid, and he was traded today. So Let the fans know who he was traded for.
Absolutely. And again, this is a guy that was pitcher or reliever of the month in the month of June for the American League.
Correct.
So Carlos Estevez is going to the Philadelphia Phillies. It's reminiscent to a couple of years ago where we picked up Moniak and O'Hoppe in exchange for Marsh and Syndergaard, in exchange for two of the top 10 pitching prospects in the Philly system, one being George Klassen. He's currently at High A. He has been assigned to High A Tri-City, which is a nice little advertising sponsor out there, the Tri-City Dust Devils, Todd. For George Klassen, 3-2 record, a 1.97 ERA, 59 1/3 innings pitch, 89 strikeouts, and a 0.98 whip. That's player number one. Player number two is the Italiano. There we go. Here we go.
Mambo Italiano.
Mambo. Samuel Aldegier.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare try to say his name.
It could be Aldegier, It depends how you want to pronounce it. 22-year-old lefty southpaw, partial starter, partial pen guy. 6-7 record, a 3.23 ERA, 78 innings, 109 strikeouts, and a 1.09 whip. So two top 7 pitching prospects in the Philly system. In exchange for Carlos Estevez, he goes to the best team in the National League.
I do like this trade a lot because for the Italian pitcher, obviously, I think he's going to come first. And he's got this, the 108 strikeouts in 79 innings pitched. Yeah, 109 and 78.
He's been assigned to Double-A.
Yeah, so Mike again. There we go. Rocket City is doing a really good job with their pitchers down there. I like what they're doing. So
they got Caden Dana. They got a couple other guys down there that have done the good work that has needed to happen in that sense for the Angels farm system. I think at the end of the day, the Angels are going to have to find a way to maybe need to make some more of these type moves. We knew Carlos Estevez was probably going to go. Is Tyler Anderson next? He's the starting guy today against Oakland. Or Sacramento, pardon me. Sacramento A's. Is Taylor Ward on the bump? Is Luis Rengifo? Is this the sign of more to come over the next couple of days for the Angels?
Yeah, you know what? This could be something good for the Angels because you're going to see maybe, hopefully for the Angels, 6 to 8 players come back into the organization to kind of rejuvenate the minor league system with the players they drafted. It'll strengthen it. It's not going to be 100% over the next couple of years, but you can think if they can get the most out of these players and bring them through and get them to adapt to the new culture for the Angels. Possibly these guys could be hitting the majors in the next 6 months to a year. And, we can start to establish a really young core because we've already got the Sorianos, we've got the Shauna Wells, Netos, and players of that nature, Ohapi. The pitchers are going to start coming through, Ben Joyce's and stuff like that. Now it's his team.
Yeah.
Now it's Ben Joyce's role to close. He's been super solid. Krause has been good. You've got Quijada back. You got to think what more would be on the trade block at some point as a veteran.
Yeah, Hunter Strickland
could
be gone as well. I think at the end of the day, if the Angels are able to find a way and shorten the rebuild mode a little bit, and if it's maybe 2 or 3, I don't know, I would say two or 3 more years. If the Angels could shorten up this rebuild process and instead of making it 5 to 6 years to rebuild everything, by making these type of trades, if it can be 2 years and the Angels are back in formation, I think it would be a different story and it would be worth it even more at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the return is what's needed. Like on these trades, it's more pressure on Perry more than anything because these trades have got to work. Yep. They can't be these trades like the Lucas Giolito type deal, where we're helping the other team and not ourselves. Because that wasn't even a short-term fix. That was like, what's shorter than a short term? That was like maybe 2 weeks.
That was a true rental.
Yeah.
But Ray Ochoa makes a good point. We also have Robert Stevenson. That 3-year deal from Tampa. He had surgery. He's out this year. He'll be back next year.
Yeah.
So you have a good piece, but it's semi-questionable because you don't know how he recovers from having surgery.
Yeah, and I think there was this also, was brought up. If we're getting 2 good players for a rental, imagine what we can get for Anderson.
Yep.
So Anderson, again, a lot of honks don't want to see him go. He's got that year of control. He's probably been our best pitcher since Jared Weaver, which is saying something. Most consistent. I'm just saying.
Rob back here being the Boo Bird section back.
Tell
here.
me who else has been as consistent as Anderson for a season.
True, Garrett Richards was.
But did Garrett Richards ever put together a full season? There you go.
And he's been put down once.
There you go. He's the closest. I'll give you that.
There you go.
But we haven't had our Kelvin Escobars. We haven't had a Bartolo Colon. We haven't had any of these pitchers come through. We don't put any value in starting pitching, and it appears that we may have put some value in this starting pitcher as far as Anderson, because from what I'm hearing, there is a big consensus in the Angels brass that they really don't want to trade Anderson.
Is this a situation where the Angels, if they do trade Tyler Anderson, you get a deal like this and continue the good movement of prospects and maybe some now ready players? Or if you keep Anderson, is it a forward-thinking process where maybe you get rid of a Reed Detmers and you kind of shift other people in different directions that maybe you thought were going to be about this core, but are not going to be about this core at the end of the day? Maybe you can't do anything to Sandoval. He's out for another year, so he's got no worth to his credit. Reed Detmers is a guy who's been stuck in AAA for almost 2 months now.
Which you're getting phone calls surprisingly about.
So maybe do they value Detmers exiting over Tyler Anderson?
It's hard to say because in years past, this team would be more than willing to show you their cards and what they want to do. This year, this team, not so much. They really don't want to, tell you, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're thinking of. And I would like to know what's going on because, like you said, are we building for the future and trying to get back as much as we can get? Or do we think that with the pieces that we're going to get with some other guys, we can afford to hold on to an Anderson, we can afford to hold on to a Renifo, and let's just run it back next year with some more fill-in talent?
Are trades like these, though, with Carlos Estevez, if more of them come, are these trade-saving moves that keep Perry Manassian as the general manager? Because, again, contract is up at the end of this year. The inconsistencies, there's 1 year left on Ron Washington's contract. Artie Moreno is going to be here till he's a vampire, till year 6,035 AD.
Yeah.
So you're in a situation where when we talk forward thinking, not just the team, let's look at it from a front office perspective. Does moves like these that benefit the organization keep Perry in the lap of luxury that he's in? Because we know he does draft well.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a concern. It's free agency and trades that have been the downfall for Perry so far in his 4 or 5 years with the organization.
But also, I don't think we can look. I've voiced my opinion about Epler. I think that he could have did a lot better. And I'm starting to see that, the Mets are turning around right now. They moved into second place. You're seeing his stamp finally be shown on the Mets. I don't think Epler, he got an incomplete grade for me because I don't think he got the green light as he should as a general manager to make the moves, to scout the way he wants to scout. I think with Perry the same way. I think he's more of a puppet head. He's not he's like that one they're going to give away on the second. Like Artie has his hand up his bum. And I think
Mark Guba's with the sock puppet.
Oh yeah. Hey, check this out right here. There's exit velocity. I just think that there's an issue right there because you can look at the Dallas Cowboys, and I bring this up all the time. Jerry Jones is the owner, the general manager. He runs everything. Everything's got to go through him. At least he can admit it. You're right. I think we're seeing, and we know that Artie makes all the last minute decisions. I think Perry has to consult with his guys, the analytics guys, and then he goes to Artie Moreno, and Artie Moreno makes that move. Yeah. If Perry was able to be more of hey, I'm going to get this guy, check it out, Artie, this is who I got. Look at who I'm going to get, Artie. This is what I'm going to do. I don't believe that exists, so that's why I'll give him an incomplete, and that I can't really lay the hammer down to him for the bad that he's done or the good.
Everything's jaded.
Correct.
Everything's jaded in those situations. If we had a different owner, maybe we'd have more of a complete grade in this situation. But again, if you break down the different departments of a general manager, drafting, Perry Manassian has done a very good job. I'm not going to say quite A+.
Except the 20 pitcher thing.
But we kind of needed something in that. It was COVID. We were all screwed up at that point. We were all screwed in the head.
He's all auto draft.
All your fantasy football talks, come talk to us later.
There you go.
But I think it doesn't matter what draft. Perry, I would say, has done a solid B+ in drafting.
Okay.
Now, that is before the players touch developmental Angels organization, because the Angels farm system is absolutely in shambles right now. The bottom 5 in Major League Baseball. So that is a different element within itself. Development-wise, Perry probably hasn't done that great of a job because, look, we're in the bottom 5 in minor league systems. But then you get to trading and free agency. Trades have been hit and miss. Logan O'Hoppe, that's a hit. Moniak, the jury's still out at this point. Lucas Giolito, that was a bomb.
Yeah.
You're in that situation. Free agency, not great. What have the Angels truly got in free agency?
Nothing since Perry's been here.
No, there hasn't been that big splash. And if memory serves me, Perry Manassian was not here when Anthony Rendon signed that massive contract. So Rendon is not his responsibility. Probably the biggest free agent signing that the Angels have had under the Perry Manassian era was Noah Syndergaard, name-wise, I guess you could put into that realm.
Correct, I guess. I mean, we got the Avenger that was on his way out.
Yeah.
I mean, we even had the Dark Knight here, which I never knew Bruce Wayne smoked crack, but he did. But the thing is, there is so much that this team needs, and if they were just to find a plan and stick with it, I think it would work in the long run. And you gotta pay the entities inside of the organization the amount of money to do their job and let them do their job. As long as we're still having this issue and this talk about Artie Moreno meddling about how they do things, how they're going to plan things, I don't know if this team can be successful. And if they are at any point to reach the postseason, it's going to be a damn miracle. And despite what anyone else does in the league, if I'm Rod Manfred, I'd be like, well, executive of the year has got to be Perry Manassian. Manager of the year is either going to be Ron Washington or whoever's managing him at that point.
Yeah.
Because to do what you can do with this organization, knowing what we know that's inside of it, and how it runs to get it to that particular point, because I think as all Angel fans right now, we're not surprised they're where they're at. But if they were to get to that next level, it'd be like, God damn, it's a miracle. Are we going to film a Disney movie off this or what?
Well, you have to look at, too, the situation is murky right now, not just because of the inconsistencies, front office on the field, but who are the Angels? Because they're only 9.5 games out of a very, very crappy American League West right now.
Yeah.
I said it in the postgame a couple of days ago that if they had gone and swept Oakland and took, won 5 of the next 6, and the Dodgers helped us by beating the Astros, the Angels could potentially be between 3.5 and 6 games going into the trade deadline. That's kind of where the Angels were in the wild card last year, a couple games out, and then that kind of plan got eviscerated very quickly in that case.
You get within 5 games. I always say 5 games or less, that's striking distance.
Because you're one sweep away from being a game or two.
Yeah, exactly. And you think about this too. If the Angels were to get on that run, it's like I said the other night, someone said, well, could they be buyers? And it's like, that'd be like going to like an expensive restaurant with about $5 or $10 and trying to get $5 or $10 worth of food. It's not really going to work. What trade pieces do we have to provide anybody to buy? You're literally going to be like, you know what? We're happy where we're at, but you have to take the calls and the trades for selling.
But this could be potentially what scares me. The Angels lose the last 2 nights to Oakland by 1 run. If those were wins, does Estevez get traded today instead of maybe later, closer to the deadline? And so if we become buyers, let's say the Angels start a nice little winning streak today going into Tuesday. Do they change course? Say, oh, the 2 guys we just got for Estevez, let's flip them for somebody else and go get like, I don't know, like an Arozarena, even though he's gone, or a Jazz Chisholm who's now with the New York Yankees. Are you in that situation of we're going to play the flip game now and completely change course at the last second?
I could see that happening, and that's the bad thing. But if the Angels make trades like this to continue to stock the minor leagues, then it's like, well, we actually have direction, and I'd actually be happy about that.
Yeah, but we'll take a look at some comments right now just to see what other people were talking about in this case. But let us know right now, do you like the move for Carlos Estevez again, going to the Philadelphia Phillies? He is a rental in exchange for 2 top 7 pitching prospects from the Phillies farm system. The first, Klassen, is going to be assigned to High A Tri-Cities. Perfect advertising right there. We didn't plan that.
I didn't plan. I wore it because Al got this jersey. It's actually a real batting jersey.
Nice.
From what is it called? The stadium up there.
Oh, okay.
And so he sent it down to me, and he's like, "Hey, can you wear this on one of your shows?" I said, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, let's do it.
It's a nice freaking
I like it,
logo and everything. It's got the Angels logo.
Todd didn't even know about the trade when I pulled in here to Mezzo.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, Estevez got traded." He's like, "What?"
I brought my Trout jersey too, the old school one, just in case to wear when the game starts. But I'm like, this one's pretty damn comfortable. I might stay in this one.
Yeah, we'll just have it. We'll have somebody here
in the background.
Just be a model, model in the background. And then the second guy in the pitching deal, the Italiano. I'm going to call him Allegri because I feel that's how you're going to pronounce it the Italian way. Allegri. He's going to Double-A Rocket City. But both have very good strike-to-walk ratios, good opposing average numbers. The wins and losses, you know me, I'm a big proponent of not looking at the wins and losses because that's very offensive dependent. I want ERA, walk-to-strike ratio, and WHIP. And right now, both guys are checking all of those boxes right away.
Exactly. And One Jets Pod says, because you know how they play Deo every 5 seconds, right? Like he's a out once we get going here. That happened a lot last time. That was driving me insane. It kept flipping your options there.
It's all right. You guys can hear us.
Well, they can hear us now.
Yeah, now they can hear us.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
It keeps changing. But
for all those that follow, they know I had technical difficulties a couple days ago in the post game. They just, now you can see the face for radio.
Yeah, what I think what they should do, and to be non-offensive, but it would be nice, is if he gets a strikeout and be like, "That's a spicy meatball," that'd be great.
Hey, Mambo.
Yeah.
Mambo striker. I know. Yeah. See.
Right, and here's the Dust Devils. I think he wanted to see the jersey real quick.
There we go. Take it off. Yeah. Take it.
No nips.
No nips today.
What do you think I am, Mohapi?
This is nip-free baseball here. Nip-free.
Whatever.
Todd hasn't hopped in a while.
No, I haven't. These cankles are going to kill me. But no. No. All right, so let me ask you this right now. No One Jets Pod. We're not going to take it off.
Yeah. I'm sexy, though.
Yeah.
Maybe you get a little, maybe one less button. There you go.
There you go. Showing the heaty. There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Oh, yeah, there we go.
That's what I'm talking about. So let me get to this question real quick. Since we're talking Carlos Estevez, we talked about what we got back. What about his time here with the Angels? Estevez, his time with the Angels, what kind of grade do you give it as far as him being the setup guy, closer guy.
I would probably give it a B. First half of last year was impeccable. First half of this, or at least the last 2 months, impeccable. That really, really crappy stretch in the second half of last year, post All-Star break, he had like the Drake curse on him. You wore the jersey, you got touched by Drake, and then you suck. That's what the situation was.
Yeah.
The beginning of this year was helter-skelter a little bit. He had good, he had okay. I would probably give it a solid B at the end of the day. I think what the Angels paid, they didn't really pay much for him, getting him from Colorado.
Yeah.
So to take a low-risk, high-reward situation, it worked out in favor of the Angels, and I think he did his time. I know everybody loves him in the sense of, the celebrations. Last year it was the chop. This year it was like the
Hadouken.
the Hadouken thing.
I'm not even going to get into the Dragon Ball Z thing. I can't pronounce it. Forget it.
Yeah, I just know it comes from that thing,
Yeah.
So you have that. He was a man of the people. He had high energy. I think we can all agree he cared about what he did, even though his press conference was like, oh, I just had another bad game. We wanted more answers. But I would give it a solid B. I think it was worth the price of admission.
I think so.
Let's say that.
And it's one of those things where it's a lose-lose situation. When you're replacing a guy like Raciel Iglesias, you got to really, bust your ass to be a good closer, to be a good,
But that's a good point. Speaking of Raciel Iglesias, because I know we talked about that a couple trade deadlines ago when he got sent over to Atlanta. Here's a good question, and all of you watching at home or wherever you may be will know the reference here. Who is your goddamn closer? Raciel or Estevez?
I would have to lean towards Raciel, because Raciel was a guy that, like, not only did he have a really cool translated intro, because I didn't understand it till my girl was like, let me tell you what it means, and I liked the song, but his stuff was impeccable. And I think, but the problem was with Estevez, look, I like his stuff too, but we never got to see his best stuff until this year, really. I feel.
True.
Now, he showed some signs, but then this year with, more consistency and being used a little bit more, he really, like, when he's locked in, dude was locked in, and he didn't dick around in the strike zone this year. And boy, he was really hard. I mean, how many times did I do a post game and it would be like at the end of the game, the ninth inning, we'd be like, oh, Estevez threw nine pitches and 7 were strikes and he got 3 outs. Like, he pitched to contact too. He didn't need to strike people out.
Yeah.
He made it just difficult for you to make contact. You would hit slow rollers, you'd hit weak flares, and boom, 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 the game's over.
Yeah. I think, the Angels, I feel, throughout their history, or at least maybe since the World Series run in 2002, the Angels at some point have had pretty decent closers. Troy Percival, great closer. K-Rod is one Jets pot put on there, a great closer. At a time, Ernesto Frieri, he had a time where he was a very good lockdown closer. Houston Street, same thing. He had a time before injury where he was a lockdown closer. Estevez, he was a decent closer.
Yes.
The Angels, I feel, have never had horrible closer type pitchers in their system. Maybe the lowest of the bunch was like a Brian Fuentes, even though he was an all-star technically, or Jordan Walden was maybe that little era where the closer situation was not great. But I think in general, the Angels' back end of the bullpen, closer-wise, has not been the weakest part of this team in the last 2 decades. I'll say that.
Yeah, correct. I think what the thing was with him, with the pitching and stuff like that, with Fuentes, he felt more like a 6th, 7th inning type pitcher.
Yeah.
He didn't feel like a true closer. And then as far as like Jordan Walden was never exactly pinpoint accurate, and he had the stuff to be a closer. He had the look to be a closer. Yeah. He just never put it together. So there's a lot of, it takes a lot to be an actual closer. And if you looked at Carlos when he pitched, he had that nice guy like you'd want to have a beer with. He wasn't trying to be intimidating.
Correct.
Like he was just your happy-go-lucky type dude. And sometimes that works, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But it's just that, as Angels fans, we've seen a plethora of different kind of closers, and we need the guy that's a little bit flashy, in my opinion. The way we entertain our fans here, there should be a monster truck, background or something when Estevez comes in. And I don't know what I asked Ben Joyce this morning, like, if you were to become the closer, like, are you going to be flashy? Are you going to fist pump? Are you going to do something? He's like, no, the game taught me to be humble. The game taught me, my dad told me to stay humble. Like, I want to feel that rage. I want to, like, show that emotion, but that's not me.
Put it in your play, not to the crowd.
Yeah.
Do it to the crowd after when you're getting interviewed by Erica. I don't do my job, Weston.
You mean good old cockeyed?
I don't know what angel red is. I just wear flowers all the time.
Yeah, Erica Weston's I will be calling on the show later on, so we'll look at that.
but no, there's a big difference with the Angels closers, and I think it's not we're in a point now. I feel we're in good hands with Ben Joyce. Ron Washington called him out in spring training and said,
Correct.
You can have 105 miles all you want. If you can't command, we'll see you in minor league baseball. He did that for 2 months. He got called back up. He's really only had one-ish outing that wasn't great.
And it was one of the first ones.
So he got over the hump, got back into what he needed to do, and look at us now. The Angels are going to lean to him now. This is a sign where it's like, okay, the training wheels are off, Ben Joyce. Your safety blanket of Estevez is gone. You were only closing if Estevez had worked back-to-back days. Handicap's over. And now this is your keys to the kingdom. And who knows, maybe the Angels get a save opportunity tonight and Ben Joyce gets to show off his first lead save situation tonight.
Yeah, he had off last night. He pitched 2 innings the night before. And then I don't know if we'll see Kraus, but I would have to say Kraus would be your setup guy along with Quijada. So you can go righty-lefty. I think you might bump more out of that spot because he hasn't been too reliable. Although I think as far as a 6-inning guy, an innings eater for a playoff team, he could get you a low-level prospect. And so, like I said earlier, I think Moore is going to be a guy that's going to be gone. But if they're able to fill the tank, so to speak, with a nice trade deadline of losing players and then restocking the farm system, this team is where we think it's at anyway.
Yep.
So we're not going to make a playoff run. This isn't, a time to honk your honk.
The AL West is still winnable. For all those that are out there that still believe their honk is still real and gripful.
Yeah.
Grip it strong.
Yeah. Well, that's
grip it and rip it.
I mean, look, the honks they've been wanting to look. We all have an inner honk in us, right? We all want this team to make the playoffs. We all want this team to do good. We wouldn't show up in droves. Well, there is constant giveaways.
Yeah.
But if there wasn't constant
giveaways, get your
Trout
bobblehead tonight.
I'm pretty sure you'd see a lot more because the thing is too with this team is the fact that it's weird in a season where usually you're looking at the wild card like, hey, we got to get back in the wild card. Let's look at these 6 other teams that are ahead of us and let's see if we can make a run at it. No, we're like, forget the wild card. That's long gone.
We might be in the division.
Yeah, we could be in the division. And there was a couple days where we were. Like you said, we pulled within the closest was 7 or 8, something like that.
6.5, 7.
Something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not that far off, but it's like, and someone said, well, if we get to the playoffs, we're going to get smoked. It's like,
but what's sad about it is over the last couple of weeks, the Angels' playoff hopes, quote unquote, have been dashed by the Oakland A's, getting swept in Oakland, losing 2 of 3 to Oakland and losing the first 2 here in this series.
Yeah.
So really, you have lost 3-6 out of the last 8 games. You've lost 7 of 8 to Oakland. If you had split it 4-4, you'd be only 6.5 out instead of 9.5 out.
Yeah.
Oakland right now, out of all the teams in Major League Baseball that the Angels have played this year, Oakland is the one preventing the Angels from potentially being in it, being buyers, being somewhat in a mirage type situation while still being under 500.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think. Out of all the teams, you would have thought, it would have been Houston or it would have been Texas. Before this Oakland A's series started, the Angels were 16-15 against AL West teams. And they hadn't seen an AL West team until May this year, the way the schedule lined up. Next year, it's going to be different. They see them like second week of the year, and it's more evened out next year in 2025. But with not seeing an American League West team until May, and the Angels were 1 game above 500 for years, the Angels getting swept by Houston, losing to Texas. They were actually a game above 500 in that sense. And Oakland is the team that is shoving it up our cheeks.
And there we go. Yeah,
we're back. We'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Keeps going. But I think with this team, we need to make, we can't get our honks too high because this team, like we looked at the schedule and we're like, okay, all the other AL West opponents were playing really, really easy schedules. The Angels weren't. And the Angels had like one of the roughest first half of the season. And then the second half, it's been the opposite. The opposite has been, okay, the Angels got, Oakland a bunch of times. They got Chicago White Sox. They've got the lower tier teams of the Central, Detroit. You got all these other teams coming up. There's an opportunity if this team were to band together chemistry wise, but I don't even think it's much on the chemistry. It's the overall talent. And
I don't think chemistry or camaraderie is the issue. The Angels never really have a problem with that in that sense, but you're in a situation right now where the Angels need to simplify and win games.
Yeah.
Winning games is the key, and they've lost some games that they should have won. They've won some games that they should have lost. So for the Angels still being under 500, but in single digits game back wise, I said at the beginning of the year, the Angels would win 86 games. Call me honkish, call me crazy, but they had only won 77 games last year. So the Ron Washington effect should get you 9 extra wins, right? And the Angels, I don't know at the moment right now, what they're on pace for in consideration of wins, but they're probably in the 70 range again. I would assume they could win 20 more games in 2.5 months.
Yeah, right now they're looking at 90 losses,
which is
72 and 90 around there.
Angels are 45 and 59 coming into today.
Yeah.
Only 2-3 games better than Oakland. So these 2 games are going to be very important because the Angels don't really see, I'd have to look at the schedule this year, Oakland too much anymore.
Silent E, I think I'm with him. He's all the way in Japan, but I think we're vibing right now because he says, if we don't trade Anderson, but trade Estevez, I'm going to lose my shit. And it kind of makes sense because you got to be able to pull a couple more players for Anderson, you would think.
You could get the same market value, 2 top prospects, regardless if they're hitters or pitchers, and you may be able to swing
a major league ready player.
A major league ready player because, again, based on contract situations, Mickey Moniak, it could be out after this year. Joe Adele could be out after this year.
Yeah.
There's going to Mike Trout's situation. Is he going to be more of a permanent DH moving forward? Taylor Ward's situation after next year. And that's just outfielders right there in that situation.
No. Okay. Sorry.
I don't know if y'all saw that there. I should have moved the camera down a little bit. We had, the FCC come in and tell us what to do.
Silent E actually said it. So, yeah. But I think right now with the starting pitching, we have right now, I think, you can replace some of these arms. You can go and get somebody in the off season to help anchor already a young, talented rotation with your Soriano, what is it? Kana, or what is his name from Rocket City?
Oh, Dana. Caden Dana.
Caden Dana. I always get that backwards. He's gonna be a guy who'll be up next year. You got Davis Daniel. He's shown flashes of brilliance.
Moments.
Yeah, so you got him. You got other pitchers.
You still got a guy named Reed Detmers in AAA.
Yeah, Griffin Canning could make another appearance next year. But I'm gonna ask you before we, because we'll take a break before we get into the actual game because it's 5:12 right now. We'll probably take a half-hour break. But my question to you is, I brought this up in the post game, like if you're able to get rid of somehow number 6, and,
who's not in the lineup tonight.
By the way. but I mean somehow cut him, and eat the money.
Or find a team willing to take maybe 50% of the money.
Yeah. Would you extend Renifo for a 2 to 3 year contract, sort of something on the lines of Anderson? And then you got Neto at short. You got Moore is going to come up and take the job next year.
Second.
And then you got Shonawell at first. You got Catcher O'Hoppe. Basically, your infield's covered.
Is your core.
And then if you can convince Trout to be a full-time designated hitter.
And maybe play outfield once, maybe like do the reverse. Once or twice a week in the outfield.
Then are you cool with that so far, what I got?
O'Hoppe catching. Shonawell at first. You have Moore / Renhefo / Stefanik or whoever until Moore is full-time.
Yeah, Stefanik would likely be off the bench.
Yeah. Neto is at short. And then third baseman would be Renhefo.
/ Stefanik
because, again, Drury's out after this year. He's a free agent.
Yep.
I think if that is a situation, I agree with it. I like that idea. The Angels have to have that in motion now. which means Rengifo.
Exit plan for Rendon.
They need an exit plan for Rendon now before you start taking calls on Rengifo. But
Yeah.
I don't think in this pivotal moment right now that can be a possibility because I don't think there's going to be a team that's willing to bet on Rendon. If Rendon did not get hurt this year, and he had been playing from the beginning of the year till now consistently, regardless of what his numbers are, maybe you could have swung a deal, ate half the money, got one prospect, and called it a day. But I think that situation is going to be a little bit tougher now. I have a feeling, knowing Artie, he's going to bite the bullet, fall on the sword, and Rendon's not going anywhere.
Okay, because that was my biggest fear. Because either way, if they were to find another team to take on number 6, they would actually lose. They would actually have to pay a majority of his contract.
The only teams that could be in that situation that are willing to bite the money would be a Dodgers in that sense, that have big money. And watch, the Dodgers could take him. I'm not saying they are, and there's no rumors. I'm just making it. They would be a team that has money, has resources, need to go for the gusto after what they did by signing Ohtani. They have Freeman. Betts has been out. They have that core. And even though they're still in first by 6.5 games, their fan base and organization is freaking out.
Well, they're not exactly spectacular either right now.
No, but they're scoring more runs than giving up runs. So by matter of mathematics, they're still winning games.
And so with all that being said, if that scenario goes through, that would leave 3 open spots for the outfield. And so you would basically fill that in free agency, wouldn't you? Because outfielders are a dime a dozen for the most part.
It depends what's available at that time. Ron Washington made it very clear that Neto, Shawnoel, Ohapi, and Moniak are the future and the core. So that tells me, are they going to sign Mickey Moniak to a 2-3-year deal, $12 million, something simple in that regard? Maybe. Yeah. And he could be your corner outfielder. Is Joe Adell on his way out? Ron Washington has believed in him this year, and he's been playing every day, thankfully, because he is healthy. Could he be? I think this offseason is really going to tell the tape. And I really believe that the Angels will not trade Taylor Ward. I think with his downplay of late, and that's not a personal, I think that's an Artie Moreno thing, and that's a front office thing. They're going to be willing to stand pat with a guy like that. They would get rid of Garcia, Anderson, people like that first before going to that situation.
Yeah, that's true.
I think, and that's not, I think that's just forward thinking because of the way the Angels organization is run at this point. So I think the outfield conversation could be more clear / figured out in the offseason more than a rash decision at the trade deadline. Because I really do believe the Angels are still evaluating Moniak and Adell the rest of this year. Who do we keep? Who do we get rid of? Because I don't think both of them are staying.
That is true. I'm hoping that actually my hope's been dashed. We've seen most of the season play out. We're over 100 games into the season. You would have thought at one point one of those 2 guys would show up and become really, really good, or at least major league ready, because I think we can all agree the numbers are nice from what Adell put up, but he could put up a lot better. He could work more walks. He could get more hits. He could stop striking out on the sliders and sweepers.
If he just had a better batting average.
Yeah. And
I think we'd be content with 15 plus home runs, 50 RBI, like being a role player in that sense. I've always said that about Joe Adell.
Absolutely.
So who knows?
And Mickey Moniak right now, like Terry Smith always likes to say, 0-2 is a count. Right now, Mickey Moniak's already 0-2, and the game's not even started yet. I mean, he automatically is strike 2 it's a miracle he even makes contact. So, like, he has so many holes in his swing. It's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, if he tweaks this or tweaks that, he'll be better. I have way more faith in Adell.
Well, okay, so here's gut reaction time. Adell or Moniak? You had to keep one right now. Who are you going to go with?
Adell.
Okay. That's poll everybody that's here right now. Okay. Halo Joe's in the house here. Would you rather are you keeping Adell or Moniak if one had to go now and one had to stay? Who stays, who goes?
I would probably keep Adell because Moniak has just not been performing lately, I think, in my opinion.
Okay.
Anyway. I would keep Adell, but I'm not very comfortable with keeping him either. So
yeah, it's the lesser of the 2 evils at this point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Moniak.
Boy.
Adele? Okay, Adele.
You tell him, boy.
There we go. Rob, we got Rob in the place. Mickey Moniak gets a vote.
That's his favorite player, Mickey Moniak. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say. But
Yeah.
I go Adele. I mean, I like Moniak too. I think he has what it takes. I think the staff hasn't helped him out so much, but Adele has more promise. He's more speed, better arm, better defensively, and he has more to prove, I think, overall for the Angels. And we kind of did this guy dirty his whole career. But
You're not wrong.
yeah,
You're
we
not
did.
wrong.
We did. I mean, sending him up and down, but yeah, continue to do him dirty, keep him on this team, and let him suffer. That's our plan.
Suffer with all of us. Here we go. We'll get a couple more people in here.
I'm gonna go Adele.
Adele.
He's also got an extra year of control on him too. He's younger. He's faster.
Okay.
Has more power, but they're not that far apart.
All right. We'll take it. Adele. What do we got? Final verdict here. Are we going Adele or Moniak?
If Moniak was playing his first, like if it was his first year playing with the Angels, I would have chosen Moniak because he was hitting crazy home runs.
Yep.
Where now I feel like he has a slump year right now, Adele. But who knows? Maybe he can grow from right now.
Okay, perfect. We love it. So it's a little bit of a tougher, but we got one more.
One vote for Moniak. So there you go. And Steve Lees checks in with F. Adele. Oh, she knows right away.
Is she coming to,
Yeah,
to
she's
make
coming
her
to-
opinion known tonight?
Yeah.
And come back at 8:00 for tonight's UFC welterweight battle.
Yeah. But yeah, I think right now the consensus is in right now. I think everyone would like to see Adele have more of a look. If he's starting the year next year as your number 4 in the outfield, and
Then
we
fine.
get 3 outfielders, I'm very much good with that.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I know before we leave and have a little bite to eat here at Mezzo before the live stream here as the Angels take on the A's tonight. 6:38 first pitch. Tyler Anderson, a potential trade victim, is on the bump tonight. There is an update. The 2 Angels pitchers that we got for Carlos Estevez have been inserted into the farm system. George Klassen is going to be now the number 3 prospect in the Angels system, and the Italiano Allegri will be number 8.
wow.
So they move from 3-7 to 3-8 in our system. How do you take that?
I actually am wondering who's number 1 and number 2. I mean,
As you
can
speak,
put more.
let me Google it. As
yeah,
we
let's
speak.
see what.
Let's see. Right now, the number 1 is Caden Dana.
Okay.
Dana 1, Nelson Rada is 2. He's at AA Rocket City.
Okay.
They have Barrett Kent, who's at the Inland Empire 66ers at 3, so he's going to get shifted at some point. The list is not updated at the moment. You have Denzer Guzman at AA at 4, and catching prospect Dario Laverde, who's at Inland Empire at number 5. So there's going to be some adjustments. You know, we saw Jack Kochanowicz pitch a game last week. He's number 7. And then we have a lot of DSL foreign-born players in the middle of the mix.
See, Kochanowicz, or however you say his name.
Kochanowicz.
Kochanowicz.
I'm his grammar coach, by the way.
Okay, I'm not really sold on that guy
He
too
needs
much.
more time.
Yeah, he does need more time. He's a guy that needs to develop, spend a couple more years. But I don't know, man. I mean, he came out pretty flat, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what.
I think if the Angels are out of it by any certain stretch of the imagination by September, you could see Caden Dana maybe coming up here for a start in September.
Yeah, possibly. I think he is the type of pitcher that would help the rotation because it's going to – anytime you put new blood into it, it's going to help out. Like Soriano did that.
Yep.
A couple other pitchers have helped out over the past couple of years. But we'll just have to see what happens. But if you got any more final comments on this, we'll get back to playing the hits over here at Mezzo. We'll play some music, and then we'll get into the start of the show, pregame at 6 o'clock. We'll get you around the majors. We'll talk potential trade spots,
other trades that have been solidified today.
Yeah.
So,
and then we'll pregame the game tonight. We'll tell you exactly what's going on, and we'll revisit this trade thing. So we're going to take about a 38-minute break right now.
We're hungry. We need some calzones.
Yeah,
we need some
food.
Wings. We need some adult beverages.
Yeah, you're going to have Casey Kasem from the
American Top
Hotline
40.
to Heaven. He's going to call in, and he's going to run the show for us. Exactly. Richard Simmons is a guest host.
Oh,
So, work it, girls.
Put your tight pants on. Put your leg warmers on.
So we'll get with that. We'll talk some more Angels baseball, Dominic, around 6 o'clock.
Yep.
And
We'll do.
oh, real quick, Joshua says
Cueto tonight for the Salt Lake Bees.
Johnny Cueto is a guy that they picked up quietly. Now again, Johnny Cueto was one of these guys I wanted 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So
4
I don't
years
know.
ago, maybe 8 years ago.
But he was decent 4 years ago, 3 years ago even. But he's fallen
But
off.
to me,
Bro, talk about my kid.
Uh-oh.
We're having Mezzos, bro. Talk about my kid.
oh no. I think it's someone's gonna go.
Yeah.
If it's Detmers, if it's Anderson, someone's gonna go because they got to make room for Johnny Cueto. But again, Fulmer's been in the starting rotation. He would go back to the bullpen. So maybe there is a spot for Cueto that doesn't involve someone leaving. Who knows?
That's true. That's true.
We'll see. We'll keep tabs tonight during the live stream about Cueto's outing in AAA.
He's definitely going to be a body out there. Definitely a body. So
We're all a body. We're all going to play tonight against the A's.
yes. All right. So for Todd Fox and
Dominic from Catella Chronicles.
we'll be back in about a half hour to talk some Angels baseball on the pregame network right here. There you go.